Now, two other changes we're going to do to the case that I want to show you. And I got the idea of this from Ray. Now, we've used this brand of drive bay device before. And what we're going to do, and that's what another thing I like about this case, is on the front, this is the first case I've never had to take the front off to take these covers out. All I had to do was reach inside and pop the two levers that are holding one of these on from the inside. I didn't have to do it from the outside. But anyway, one of the drive bay devices we're going to change out is a Kingwin, and this is the model KF253BK. What this will do will give us the hot swap capability to have two drives in one 5 1/4 inch bay. We'll be able to hot swap a 3.5 inch drive and a 2.5 inch drive. So anything we do with a laptop drive, but specifically for SSDs, we'll have that all in one slot. Now that's the only thing I didn't like about the case. I needed 4 slots, but I've only got 3, so I have to have a burner in one because we use DVD Architect, and we're going to have that in one of the drive bays. And Ray told us about that. Another option we're going to install in the case, and this is made by Akasa. We've had USB-C on the back of the computers for, a while. We've had a connector on the motherboard for USB-C, but trying to find a drive bay device out the front has been really scarce. So we found this device on Performance PCS, and I'll put up a link to it. And this is by Akasa, and this will give us USB 3.1 out the front of the case. So we get one USB 3.1 port for USB-C. We get 2 USB 3 and then 2 USB 2 ports. I'd like to be able to change those USB 2 ports to USB 3, but we're going to probably put an I/O card in the computer to enable that feature, because this is totally self-contained and there's nothing that you can do to change anything in it. But it's got all the connectors, it's self-contained, fits in a 5 1/4 drive bay, so we'll be set. So we're going to install those. So here's the first bay where we're going to put the dual drive. We've got the burner in here, and then we're going to put the USB-C right here. What I'll do first is I'm going to turn this case around so you can see it, and I'm going to take this drive out so I can reach inside and remove these 2 panels. And if you notice, the case already has 2 USB 2 and 2 USB 3 ports, so we're well set. Now I like the quick disconnects on here, so I'm going to open this up. This is the first drive, the Kingwin KF253BK for 2 drives. We're going to open that up, pull that out. We've got a manual with screws and cables. We've got the drive. I'll set that up on top. You can look here at the back. Well, and that's another thing. This also has 2 USB 3 ports on the front, and it's got the connector for it. So we'll turn that over, and it's got an on-off switch and also keys to lock these 2 drives in. There's the 2 USB 3 ports, and there's the 19-pin header. So if you've got a motherboard that's got lots of 19-pin headers, you're going to be happy. If not, you'll be scrambling for an I/O card. We're kind of in that boat. So we're going to install that in the front. That'll just slide right in, and that'll lock. And we'll put the third one in. And as you can see, this device from Akasa, it's got a nice brushed metal finish on the front. Totally self-contained box. It's got the 3 cables that come out the back. There's the special cable for the USB-C, and there's the header for the USB 3 and the header for USB 2. Totally self-contained. Well, there's not much room, and this has a mechanism on the side for locking drives in, but it depends on having a full-length device. This is a very short device, so we'll have to secure it with screws on one side, the far side, unless we take that locking mechanism off. Okay, we got 1 screw that lines up. We have 2 screws that line up on this side, and we don't have any screws that line up on this side because of this latch. That's curious. The question is, can those screws hold that? We're going to find out. The Akasa drive has some decent screws, so we can use that with the number 2 Phillips. So we have those devices in the case. Now we'll be able to put a 3.5 inch drive and a 2.5 inch drive. Got a nice mechanism, and we've got access to USB. I'd like a screw on that side. I'm going to have to do some work on that. So now we'll take a look inside the case. You'll be able to see the fans. We have 2 industrial fans in the front, 1 industrial fan in the back. And these, like I said, are 3,000 RPM, and they are 4-pin fans, so the motherboard controls them. And with the 2 thermistors we have installed, the thermistors are identifying where they need to be. And the ones on the front are behind these touch latches. We can pull that off. We can see those 2 fans. So we have air flowing in and out the back. And it does suck the air. And this is pretty easy to clean. We've got the Akasa USB Type-C with USB 3 and USB 2 ports all here at the front with the multi-connectors that go on the motherboard. We've got a Blu-ray drive because we have DVD Architect, and we've got our Kingwin dual drive rack for a 3.5 inch and a 2.5 inch drive. So this way we're pretty well set to get everything in, and this also gives us 2 more USB 3 ports, which brings us to the next thing. We're now going to have to install a USB card to give us access to all these ports. The USB ports on the case are plugged into the motherboard. The USB ports on the Akasa device are also plugged into the motherboard, but the 2 USB 3 ports that are on our dual drive bay, those are on the InterConnect card. And I really like taking these ports off from the inside. I did not have to take the front of that case off. Well, then it comes off the front is the grill. A couple of touch latches, pop it loose, clean the dust out. You can see the 2 fans, air blowing through. Nice case. Plenty of room on the front side. We've got our 3 bays filled, our dual drive, our burner, our Akasa drive, but everything works. We have 2 USB 2 ports, 2 USB 3 ports for the case. We have 2 more USB 3 ports because of the I/O card we installed. We have 2 more USB 3 ports that go to the motherboard, 2 USB 2 ports. These are the only 2 ports that aren't plugged in that we can't use right now until we figure out some way to get USB 2 on there. Those 2 are not using. But the purpose of this drive was for that USB-C port, so we'd have it out the front, not just the back. So, case is built up, and on the inside, we should be good to go. Folks, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. And remember, build or buy. We'll look forward to seeing you in the next video.